goes back to the pageantry of it all. You know, the glitz and the glamour and the floats and the beads and the excitement and the camaraderie of the community coming together. The fact that I get to figure out how to make a living off of that. It's great.
Thanks for joining us on Louisiana's Playground Podcast, your roadmap to all things Lake Charles, Louisiana. I'm Brady Raynard.
And I am Jillian Corder, and once again, we're excited to bring you the authentic stories and experiences of Southwest Louisiana. We've got all the tools you need to build your own personal Lake Charles itinerary. We're talking Mardi Gras. Oh, that was really good.
We are talking Mardi Gras.
I was actually really impressed by that trombone.
Costumes, yeah. We are talking about Mardi Gras. And okay, I don't want to keep
this will get cut, right?
Yeah, you're gonna turn it off immediately if I keep just doing that. We are talking Mardi Gras. Episode 63 of the podcast, Miss Jana Moe, who is a Mardi Gras costume designer, full time now. And so she gives us the deets on the whole detail and then ultimately the final product, which you get to see at a couple of places here in Lake Charles. It is a fascinating journey as we learn a little bit about the costumes of Mardi Gras. You don't want to miss it. Before we get to it, though, let's do as we always do. Start the show off with On the Eats.
This week, we're talking Stellar Beans. This is a downtown establishment, right in the heart of downtown, kind of coffee and cuisine stop, and it is a great stop every morning, right? Got an intergalactic theme, Stellar Beans, you get it, celestial, etc., stars and whatnot.
I mean, even the logo is kind of modeled Star Wars-esque, right? You get that feeling of a lot of Star Wars imagery.
Sure.
Within, I mean, even the names of some of their items.
Yeah,
right?
Names on the menu, even the art inside this place. So what I really love about Stellar Beans is it's kind of the one of those super quirky spots downtown where you walk in and every inch of wall is covered in either like movie posters or record albums or art from local artists. So they have local artists that put their work up on the walls that can be sold there. They've also got a whole little section for like artisan soaps and homemade jewelry and just anything that you could imagine that local artists are selling.
Yep.
This is the place where it's
right.
hubbed.
I believe they do a featured artist so each month, so it kind of allows them to kind of rotate some of the art that they do have in it, and it just kind of it adds to it. I mean, it does feel like a little bit of escape, like you're going to a cafe a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
I like it. Yeah. I like that.
And yeah, it's good. And obviously, as far as the coffees, they have the usuals, and they'll also do a lot of specialty drinks within coffees. They use organic air roasted beans, but they also do like specialty drinks as well. Different kind of smoothies and the like. As far as food, a lot of standard cafe fares, sandwiches, croissants, bakery items like brownies and muffins, and even during the Mardi Gras season, king cake.
That's right. So what did we order? I got the Interstellar Cristo.
It was out of this world.
It was, in fact, out of this world. That's what I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
So Interstellar Cristo, your classic like Monte Cristo, right? So you've got on this one, crispy bacon, smoked ham, Gouda, tomato jam, which is kind of sweet. And it's served on fresh baked beignets, but topped with powdered sugar. It's everything you want in a breakfast sandwich. It's your salty, sweet, savory mixture of everything, and it's just absolutely amazing.
It is an interesting thought that you called it a breakfast sandwich, in that most Cristos are very much kind of a dinner staple, but it does make sense that all those flavors would work during the breakfast hour.
Well, I feel like, first of all, I think breakfast works 24 hours a day.
Sure. Well, yeah, and don't even get us started on American breakfast and the whole concept that really
you can only eat this before 10 o'clock.
It's crazy.
No, I don't think that's true. But I don't know. There's something about, but what I do feel is like when it is breakfast, when it is prior to lunchtime. You can get away with some super sweet things that maybe you feel more guilty about throughout the day.
Yeah, don't worry that I'm calling this a pancake because it definitely is essentially just a cake.
Exactly. So you can get away with like crazy sweet stuff that you would not necessarily feel right eating.
That's not icing. It's syrup.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Hello.
So this one, when it's covered in powdered sugar, I feel like you can get away with more in the morning.
Yeah.
Fun fact though, while you're eating this, don't talk and eat at the same time. And that is just a rule for anyone who's eating beignets or anything, or powdered donut, anything with powdered sugar on top of
Or
it.
people with their mouth full.
That too, but specifically, don't like laugh as you're taking a bite because I got powdered sugar all over the table. But man, it was so delicious. In fact, I think I want another one already.
I went with the turkey melt. It's turkey, pepper jack, cheddar. There's red onions. Some people call them purple onions. And then some pesto on a brioche bread. And I believe I think I fat thumbed the menu because we ordered on a kiosk. I think it ended up somehow getting some of the tomato jam on there as well. Because
okay.
There was a red sauce on there, and there wasn't supposed to be. So I think I fat thumbed it. It worked on it, by the way.
It's good.
But I
the
believe
sweet jam is really
there was a
good.
sweet jam on there, and so it's just it worked on it though. There were some thick slices of turkey, and then the shredded cheese that was melted on there provides a nice chunk of good, great cheddar cheese there. Obviously, that sweet jam helped kind of elevate and add some sweetness to it that it didn't typically have. The pesto was good. That nutty. It's almost a sweet, almost like aromatic flavor that kind of pulls it all together. I really like the toast as well because it was very soft toast, which I much prefer. I like a good soft bread, and it still had the flavor of it being toasted. And then, of course, the purple onions. I'm not the biggest fan of onions, especially like a pungent raw onion like that. But for those that like it, it's going to carry that whole thing together.
For those who like it, aka me,
Right.
I took a bite of your sandwich and I loved it.
I was about to say, so the onions really work for that. For me, I took them off after it was already there, so there was that little bit light onion flavor throughout, but it was very good. It was a very hearty sandwich, and it all worked really well together. I thought it was a great sandwich.
Yeah. And then, of course, we finished it all up with a slice of king cake. And every king cake is different, right? So no matter where you
Right.
go, everything is different. Some lean more, cinnamon rolls. Some lean a little flakier. Some are more cakey. And I think this is a king cake.
Sure. It wasn't a traditional, it's not the braided rolls and all of that you'll see oftentimes with a traditional king cake, but it was still good. And not, like you said, not every king cake has to be traditional. It's more about, honestly, it's just about the flair. You add a little purple, green, and gold to it. And it's delicious. We can pass it. And it was. This one was good. Like you said, very dense. They had a thick cream cheese icing on the top.
I loved it.
And it was a great cream cheese icing as well. I like that they used the hard sugar.
Yes.
A lot of places have kind of skipped past the hard sugar.
Yeah.
You're getting away from your roots as a king cake. Bring back the hard sugar.
I think you have to have that.
I prefer it. I like that little bit of crunch on the top.
I think you have to have that.
But overall, a very good king cake. I'd have liked to have kind of heated it up in the microwave to soften up. I like a little bit of
We like
heated,
our desserts warm.
Yeah, I agree. But overall, very, very good.
Yep.
And the location's very convenient.
Of course. So I work not far from this place, and to walk over and grab a quick coffee or meet somebody there, I've had like business conversations there right over a cup of coffee. So really great spot. A lot of people, when you walk in, you can see them working on something. I've seen like other journalists there or people that are just sitting down to read a book.
Right.
This is just a really cool atmosphere. And also, we didn't talk about it, but the coffee is great. You can get, there's a variety on the menu, but I go in and get just like a standard, French vanilla cappuccino, and always good, always delivers. Really good stuff. They also have a king cake frappuccino on the menu right now, I think. And it also comes with your purple, green, and gold sugar on top. That'll
definitely get your sweet fix for the day.
Yeah.
And I think I'd be remiss not to mention their humanitarian efforts during like Hurricane Laura. was really top notch, and so they're also good people. So that's great.
Super community focused. So anytime there's like the downtown art crawl, or anything happening downtown, they normally shut that section of street down right there on Broad.
Yep.
And so they're always out there. They always have artists in front of their building, and they're always part of it, right?
Sure.
Part of the community events, which is always really great to see. So definitely a great spot right there in downtown Lake Charles.
From a great meal to a great guest, we welcome on Jana Moe, a woman of many hats, but she's wearing the Mardi Gras costume designer one today. She picked up her skills as a craftsman and designer from her family's Western wear store and has applied that to her love for creativity and community, and of course, Mardi Gras. In just 4 short years as a costume designer, she's made a lasting impact on the local Mardi Gras scene, bringing joy and artistry to each costume she designs. Welcome to the show, Jana.
Hi, thank you.
So we're so excited to have you on. First, we want everyone to know how you play in Louisiana's playground. So we have some rapid fire questions for you.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. First up, crawfish or gumbo?
Do I have to choose?
Oh, you do for this.
Crawfish.
Some people cheat and say seafood gumbo. And it's got crawfish in it. So that is one way you could kind of cheat it a little.
No, it'd be chicken and sausage.
Okay. Okay.
So is it the atmosphere around crawfish more than anything for you?
You know, the camaraderie was sitting around.
Yeah.
And sharing good times and laughing and cutting up, eating, the slowness, the pace of it all. Yeah, I would think the crawfish.
Which I think maybe makes sense of why you're all in on Mardi Gras too. Kind of
The
share
camaraderie.
some similarities there for sure.
Crawfish and Mardi Gras hold hands a little bit. So.
Yeah.
I think so. So, okay, next question. Poolside or beachside?
Beach.
Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Pina colada in the sand.
Can't beat it,
No,
right?
I'm ready.
Okay, last question. Concert or comedy show?
Concert.
Okay, what are you listening to? What's like your dream concert?
Oh, Dolly Parton.
Dolly.
I do love some New Orleans jazz, but bucket list is Dolly Parton, man.
Mm-hmm.
Jolene. All right.
Love me some Dolly.
So I know we touched a little bit on your background in the intro. Can you give us kind of a nice little dive into it? And then ultimately, how did you become involved in Mardi Gras costume design?
Well, it's always been something that I loved and liked, the pageantry of it all, the glitz and the glam, the rhinestones, sequins. I mean, how can you not get excited about it, you know? I've always kind of even lived my life as a costume, you know, every day you put on a costume.
And has shown up to the interview in a completely sequin jacket and I think sequin shoes. So she, you know, she
haven't seen her shoes
She
yet.
walks it and talks it, by the way. And
wow.
we'll have a photo that you'll have to.
Iridescent, sequined,
Yeah.
lace-up combat boots. That's pretty incredible.
So check our website for the image so you can see all of it because it's magnificent. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
That's
I just had to. It led in so perfectly.
From the time I was a little girl, I always wanted to wear sparkly things. And I left Lake Charles at 19. I went to a merchandising and design school in Dallas and, you know, started learning about design and that kind of thing and sewing and stuff back then. And came home and went to work for my family Western store. Well, I also learned a lot more about design and sewing and leather work and all kind of other different things. And from there, I just got involved with Mardi Gras. My mom and dad were in crews, and I've always just been intrigued by it. And I knew I wanted to go in design all of my life. And at some point, I was just, you know what? I'm quitting everything and I'm diving headfirst and jumping in. And that's what I did 4 years ago.
Wow.
I quit everything else was doing, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm either going to make it or I'm not. And here I am.
What a leap. How brave you are. I mean, that's a big leap. You
Yeah.
obviously have the skill set to back it up, right? You obviously knew that you had something to give to this world. But
Yes.
to take that leap is brave.
It was. But, you know, if you don't jump in make your dreams happen. Nobody's going to do it for you.
A life of regret. You would have said, what if?
Yeah.
Forever.
So I figured just dive head first. Let's do it.
That's
So
incredible. And
that's what I did.
and inspiring,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
What is it about Mardi Gras that inspires you so much?
To me, it goes back to the pageantry of it all.
Yeah.
The glitz and the glamour and the floats and the beads and the excitement and the camaraderie of the community coming together. It's fun. It's exciting. And the fact that I get to figure out how to make a living off of that is it's great.
Kind of seems like a dream job.
It really is.
But also a ton of hard work.
It is very, very much hard work that is crammed into a couple of months.
Well, can you kind of explain that process? How does it all work?
Well, I get a crew that they'll contact me with their theme. They'll have some ideas, and sometimes I'll have to research and figure out some themes that will, work with their theme, and we have to pick fabrics and all that kind of stuff. And then you start working on, construction and different things like that, and the sewing and making sure their costume fits. There's several fittings throughout this process, and lots of research goes into it. You can't just jump in. You got to make sure that you have the correct colors and silhouettes for each person's body type and that kind of thing. So when it, finally all said and done, then it comes together nicely. But, there's such a short time span to get some of this together. So, a lot of the times when Mardi Gras season hits, I'll start working at 10 in the morning and I'll work till 6 in the morning. And then I'll do it all over again. And I'll do that for a couple of weeks, and then I'll have to take 2 or 3 days off and sleep and go right back at it again.
Well, because a lot of these crews, as soon as their ball is over for 1 year, they already know what the next year's is
A lot of them
right?
do. A lot of them do. A lot of them take their time and a little slower than others. But most of the time, they're already starting to prepare at Easter.
Wow.
They're already starting to try to get, court and themes and that kind of thing together to proceed on to the next year. And I encourage them to do it as quickly as possible because that means I can start faster.
Right.
So, yeah.
What kind of materials are used, and have you even kind of dove into different styles in those 4 years where you maybe didn't use something and now you're starting to incorporate other technologies and other materials that maybe you didn't when you started?
I use a lot of sequins, satins, chiffons, velvets. I've done some stuff with a couple of pirate crews, so I've done some leather work, which I have, had known how to do for years. I work with a 3D printer. I use a graphic vinyl cutter, so I know how to do some graphic design. So I incorporate those into my collar work. The 3D printer, I've been printing different kind of animals,
Cool.
and then covering them with stones and sequins and that kind of thing. I've done some lions and birds and those kind of things. And you set them into the collar, and that way they're a lightweight, but it still gives you a 3-dimensional
Sure.
look versus regular, just plain wire work.
And for those who maybe aren't familiar with Mardi Gras, when she says collar, she's talking about these several feet tall mantles that sit on the shoulders of, this Mardi Gras royalty. These are epically large.
Yes.
That you're putting together.
It's typically at least the height of the person wearing it. It's another them stacked on their shoulders.
Some are, I guess, smaller, but they can get pretty elaborate.
Well, your king and queens are usually bigger. And I'll tell you this because this was a king that I had last weekend. He was 6'3". And I made him a collar that was 5 by 5.
Wow.
So we had him standing next to a 12-foot ladder, and he was there.
Wow.
So anyway, yes, the king and queens are usually larger then the Dukes and Duchesses are a little smaller.
Yeah, and on our website, I'll have linked a video that we did kind of running through Lake Charles Mardi Gras a couple years ago, and some of your designs are featured there. The Cheshire Cat was one of them for the Alice in Wonderland theme.
Love it.
And you can see how big and elaborate they do. And so I think it's a perfect time that for a lot of Mardi Gras across the state, the average Joe, especially a visitor, doesn't get to see this.
No.
You might see a picture where they shared it somewhere, but that is not available for them to see. That's different here in Lake Charles, though.
It doesn't show you the grandeur on a picture. And that's why the gala and 12th night, both of them are so great, because people that aren't in cruise, they can go to Royal Gala and 12th night to see these things. Because it is the pageantry and the size of these things and the work and the creativity that go into it. And you can watch it and see all of these crews that work so hard get to parade around and show off what they've what we've come up with together as a collaboration.
And I feel like it also gives you like a second chance. It's kind of like a wedding dress, right? So you get a wedding dress. It's the best thing you've ever purchased in your life. It's extremely expensive, and you wear it one day. This kind of allows all of that work and the hours and the hard work that goes into these costumes. It gives it one more chance to shine, right?
Exactly. Because I'll tell you, the late nights and the hours I put into it and the coffee, and it's, 4:00 in the morning. But when I get to see it all out there and the spotlight hitting it and the person wearing it and they're smiling from ear to ear and the excitement in their face, and yes, to see it parade around the ball or a gala, it makes it all worthwhile for me. That's what really makes it all worthwhile for me. It just kind of grabs my heart and said, yes, all of that time was worth it.
Not everybody gets a chance to doll up, even if you're not part of their royalty. And you don't get to put on one of these elaborate costumes. I mean, the fact that this is a reason to dust off the tuxedo, once a year, I think is just what makes Mardi Gras so appealing to so many people. It's just a chance to kind of dive into a world that you otherwise, this is not day-to-day life, is just so far removed from it.
Oh, it's absolutely not day-to-day life. And even these people that I build costumes for, a lot of this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity kind of thing. So it's very exciting for them and for me to experience it with them,
People come to you with these themes, and some probably just say, here's the theme, do whatever you think's best. Other people probably come to you with like very specific ideas of what they want.
Yes.
How hard is it sometimes to turn those ideas into reality, or to try to say, maybe this isn't maybe I have a better idea?
Well, of course, I obviously like the ones that give me full creative reign.
Yes.
Because then I don't hesitate. I do what I feel. It gives me instincts, and I'm not scared to react on those.
Good for you.
Yes, that's much easier. But when they come with you with such specific orders, sometimes it puts so much pressure that I get a little nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Can I meet what they have envisioned in their head? And of course, I want to meet everyone's vision in their head. And, sometimes we got to regroup and get back in line. But, it's a lot of research. And also sometimes what someone has in their head to get it out and what I have in my head, we have to match that together. But, The more creativity you give me, the more freedom, the better I am.
Sure.
So is it one of those things where every year you're trying to top what you did the year before? Do you feel competitive against yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So you look at last year's costumes and you're like, I can do even better.
Uh-huh. Even the night after they go out.
Oh,
even
like,
as I'm dressing them, I'm like, you should have done that better.
How could I have been so foolish?
Right?
Yes.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Hindsight's 2020, right?
Yes.
Boy, I think every creator
feels that way.
Feels that way about anything that you do. As far as Mardi Gras, we talked about the gala being something that's way different here than anywhere else. What else do you feel like stands out about Lake Charles Mardi Gras that helps it stand out from the rest of the state?
Well, I think we do a lot we have Children's Day and the Children's Parade and different things and the community dance. So it's not just the parades. It's not just the balls. There's other things, the gumbo cook-off. There's other things for the community to get involved in that they can participate in with children and as a family and that kind of thing. And then, and of course, there's the parades where you go, cook on the side of the road all day and have a good time. And but the whole thing about the Mardi Gras season is to spend time with your family and your friends and to have a good time and, to celebrate. Everybody stops. The whole city stops.
Right.
Schools shut down.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do think, I agree that Lake Charles, Mardi Gras, what sets Southwest Louisiana apart is the family atmosphere of it all. Not to say you can't, call
Have
in a
that anywhere
babysitter and go have like an adult night out. That's great. But to be able to have a place that's kind of like a sanctuary, if you will, like to bring my kids to the Mardi Gras parade every year. And I feel like it's perfectly safe. It's just the right size. It's just the right volume. Like that is unique, I think, to our area.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree. Having been all over, there's definitely a focus here. And you hear it. I think this is our 4th or 5th Mardi Gras conversation here on the podcast.
Yeah.
And that's been a staple of every single one. This is a family-friendly event here. That first and foremost is what we want to do.
Yeah, well, I think people that are traveling, especially now that we have kids, thinking about traveling with your children is like a whole new undertaking, right? And you're kind of afraid, you're fearful to do it, especially if it's a place you've not been to before or what that experience might be like. And I think we can really offer that to travelers who are traveling with kids. Yeah. That's a bit unique for us. Okay, pivoting here, the Mardi Gras Museum. What's the latest? What do you know about the Mardi Gras Museum? What's it going to be?
I'm excited.
I know it's going to be so much bigger and better than it's ever been before.
Oh, it is. It is. I'm really excited about it. I think they're actually going to pour concrete sometimes this week, which is really exciting. We are also working on getting a virtual mirror where you can stand in front of and try on different costumes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, how cool.
So that's going to be a lot of fun with that. It will be, there's 14 talking mannequins.
Wow.
And it will be a self-guided tour through the museum for you to go through all the different rooms. And then, of course, we'll have different things on display at different times and that kind of stuff.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm excited about the new museum. We're really looking forward to it. We've been no museum since Laura, so everything is in storage and we've got everything preserved and ready to take back out, maybe glue some feathers and stones, touch some things up. But, the virtual mirror is going to be neat. We're going to have a garden outside and they are doing different bricks to add into past royalty.
Oh, wow.
To have a kind of a deal there that you can buy bricks for the museum. So, to leave a bit of history outside of it as well.
Absolutely.
Is inside.
And what a unique thing for visitors to get to go to. And locals, to be able to visit.
Yeah.
And your involvement on the board has led to you having another, we just keep having people on here that have great titles. Is it costume designer? What's the official title?
Costume designer.
You of the Mardi Gras Museum. What does that entail for you, for your aspect of it?
Well, my job is a costume designer, and then for I'm on the Mardi Gras Museum board as a board member. But technically, I guess when we're up and running again, I'm gonna repair to make sure that everything goes back out, neatly, since everything's been stored for so long. There's a couple of us that we will get them all,
right
back into shape,
into shape,
and maybe some of these new ones that you're pumping out that
I'm hoping so.
We'll get to go into the museum as well.
If they're worthy, I can have something end up in there.
that would be awesome. For sure. And a really fun thing, different.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, obviously the museum once it's up and running, is going to be the go-to destination for anyone coming in. For now, what besides the museum will be a place that you think Lake Charles visitors will get the best experience of the magic of Mardi Gras here in Lake Charles? What are your top 3 list, if you will, of make sure these are things that you do while here?
The gumbo cook-off is always incredible.
Sure.
Royal Gala is always, because you get to see everything. You get to see every cruise costumes there. So I guess definitely those. And if the museum was open, I'd tell you go there.
And you know, the gumbo cook-off is changing locations a bit this year, so we're kind of going to be able to do a little bit more with it there on the lakefront, so you're going to have a really nice view with it as well, and there's nothing that pairs better with gumbo than a nice view.
Yeah, and you can't miss those Mardi Gras parades either. We got
yes,
several
absolutely,
that roll
the
through.
parades, yes.
You don't need a recommendation to go to the parade. I think you already know that that's where you're headed.
That's a given.
You know, even to come walk up and down the lineup, you know, there's so many food vendors, and you can see the floats and see how they're decorated.
Yeah.
Just to come walk up and down the seawall is an experience if you haven't done that ever before,
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, for Crew of Cruise, you know, which rolls at like 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Some people are out there, the crews are out there bright and early getting things set up. And a lot of, you know, just people, parade goers are out there really early.
7 o'clock in the morning.
They want to watch it all happen.
Yeah, loading up beads and speakers and everything else that entails, you know? Yeah.
Event of the year. It's a must.
Crew Cruise Parade. Yeah, I agree.
Thanks again to Jana for joining us here on the show, and thank you for taking time out of your day to join us on this here podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please follow the podcast, leave us a rating or review wherever you go, whether that be Apple or maybe you're one of the YouTube listeners. Thank you for that. Or Spotify. Please, like I said, leave us a rating or review. We really appreciate it.
And it, of course, helps us grow our audience and further share the unique experiences that Lake Charles and all of Southwest Louisiana has to offer. Go to visitlakecharles.org/podcast for more episodes, advice on where to eat, and events happening this weekend. I'm Jillian Quarter.
And I'm Brady Reynard. Thanks again for coming to play at Louisiana's Playground. Sit you.